Once again, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for attending the 2023 Membership and Scheduler Year-End webinar. I will be your instructor for today. My name is Sam Williams, and I am a software support technician with Concordia Technology Solutions, and I've been here for about 2 years now, so I've probably talked to some of you at least once or twice. Just as a note, all phones and microphones have been muted. If you have any questions during the webinar, type them into the questions window. Any questions not answered during the webinar, we will answer those at the end. With me here today as well is my manager, Rod Kiles. So he'll be in the background, and any questions you guys have during the webinar, he'll work on answering those. And then, as I said, we'll cover any of the questions that weren't answered at the very end. So the class agenda for today is going to be, we're going to have an overview, a discussion, then a review of what we discussed, a little short quiz, and then we're going to have that Q&A session. And what we're going to be covering today is we're going to have a year-end overview. We're going to be going over optimizing your database, and then we'll go over making backups, and then we're going to be covering the membership module. And inside the membership module, we're going to be covering membership records, so updating those, printing out statistical reports for your year-end distributed denominations. Then we're going to be going over the cleanup utility, which is just optional. Then in Scheduler, we're just going to be covering the cleanup utility. All right, then. So let's get started. I am going to turn off my webcam real quickly. And so let me open up Shepherd Staff. So with this webinar, we will be using the newest available version of Shepherd Staff, which is version 9.0. Users can update their software using the update utility by clicking check for software updates, so that there is a new update available. So yeah, if we want to, we click yes to update to that. And so the thing is, you can only do check for software updates if you guys are registered with us and have a current support contract. So just as a note too, year-end utilities have been removed from all modules except for finance. Since this changed, just about all reports have dates, so users can run reports for previous years easily. And as though each module does have a cleanup utilities, none of them are required to move on to the next year. If users do want to purge data using these utilities, it will be a permanent process that can only be undone by restoring a backup. Our recommended order for year-end tasks is this: to do contributions first, then attendance, then membership, and then do scheduler and finance afterwards. So to optimize the database, what you're going to want to do is go up to utilities up here at the top, and then what you can just do is click optimize this database, and then just click yes. You'll want to make sure if you guys are on a network that only one person is in Shepherd Staff at a time and no one else is doing anything on there, otherwise the optimization will fail. And if you are on a network, you will just want to do the optimization on the server computer, which is just the host computer that has your guys' actual database and is sharing it out on the network. If you're just a single, you got one computer that uses Shepherd Staff, you just do it on that one computer. And then just with doing year-end tasks, what you're going to want to do before running anything is go to utilities and click back up this database. And this will then just let you make a backup of your database. And we'll just click start backup. Okay, since we've gotten that backup made, let's get signed in to Shepherd Staff. I'll be using just the default login. Okay, and so we're just going to go to membership real quickly. And let me actually do one thing real quickly. There we go. So in membership, what you'll first want to do is enter or verify any changes in your congregation from the ending year. One method I'd like to mention would be to print out a blank person or household report for congregants to fill out if there have been any changes or there are holes in your data. So you can do this so for the person record, what you'll want to do is go to individuals right here. And then once here, just click on any record and then click the print button down below. You'll then get a list of reports here. We're going to want to select the person records report. Then once here, what we'll do is we'll choose a blank form to fill out, for people to fill out. And then we'll just click continue. And this will then have pretty much, all of the information that you enter into Shepherd staff so that they can then fill that out. And then you just use that to update your records as needed. For the household, what you would just need to do is go to households right here, and then click on, just any household again, click print. You're then going to choose family record. We're then going to click select, and we'll also say a blank form for people to fill out. All this does is just gives, the address information, contact information, email, away addresses if you have that, and then just a list of all the people in the household, along with any salutations or names on the labels, or if you're part of a ministry group or you have an elder assigned to you. And let me back out of here. So with updating membership data, this will help you make your end of the year reporting more accurate. You'll want to make sure to update all of the following. I'll be kind of going over these one by one. But for example, you have any births in your congregation, what you'll want to do is add those. So to add that, what we're just going to do is go down here, click add at the bottom. And we are going to add a child to the Hall family. And his name, just for this purpose today, is going to be Samuel. We're going to want to make sure his household position is set to child. And then once here, we'll say marked as a member, received by baptism. The date received is going to be 11/14/2023. And we'll just say membership code is full member. Then we're going to click save. And this is then going to take us to the edit window. And what we're going to want to do is, since, he was entered in and he was baptized, we're going to want to put in that date, along with putting in the baptism date. If they have been baptized already, we'll also want to go underneath personal information and enter in their birth date. So he was born on 9/30/2023. And then we'll just click save. And then we've now entered in that birth. So after birth, it's unfortunate, but sometimes we do have those who pass away in the church. So to mark someone as being deceased, here's what you'll want to do. Under individuals again, if you know the person's name, you can just type in their last name. And we're going to look for Rosemary here. We're now going to click edit to edit her record. And what we'll want to do is under the household position, we're first going to set her as deceased. We're then going to go to the death date and set the death date as 3/24/2023. And then underneath, so this is what you would do for the personal information section. You would just change deceased, enter the death date. Then under church, what you'd want to do is change the participation from active to deceased, and then change the removed by to death. And usually for the date removed, we suggest just putting in the date they passed. And then once you have that all done, just click the save button here. This will then, have line will go through her name showing that she's removed. And since she's deceased, she'll have this red coloring on her name, and you'll see it right here next to her person icon. What you'll also want to do is make sure you leave her as a member and not change her to a non-member. Because if you do that, the annual report will be inaccurate, because it only looks at those who are members when it's considering its totals. Then if you guys have any baptisms, what you'll want to do, as you saw, enter those in along with confirmations. So I'm just going to pull up a record real quick, and we are just going to edit Daniel real quickly, and then we're just going to mark him as being baptized and confirmed by checking these two boxes under church. And then we'll just fill in those dates as well, which is for Daniel, it's going to be 4/4/2023 for his baptized date, and then his confirmed date is going to be 11/5/2023. And then we'll just click save, and now he is both baptized and confirmed. And then on a bit of a happier note, we'll have, if you ever have marriages at your church, what you'll want to do to show those is if we go back here, what you'll want to do is for each person. So I'm going to go to Freeman, and let me just edit him. So for each person, what you're going to want to do is change their marital status, mark them as married, list their wedding date, and for the wedding date, I'm just going to say they were married on November 1st of 2023. And then I'm just going to copy this for later. And then for the spouse's name, we are just going to put Katrina. And then click save. Then what we'll need to do is go to his spouse's record, which we're going to scroll down here because it is Katrina Obanon. And then once here, we're going to change her marital status to married as well, add in the wedding date of 11/1/2023. Spouse's name is going to be Jason. And then for the prior surname, we're going to change it to Obanon. And then we'll change her last name here to Freeman. After making this change, what we're then going to want to do is move Katrina over into Jason's household. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to click on this little household icon right here. It's got a person in there with an arrow next to it. So if we click on that, we'll then get a little window that says move a person to a different household. And so the person we've selected is Katrina D. Freeman. And the intended household is going to be the Freeman household, which is going to be Jason. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set the household position per to spouse, click save. And then since this is the last person in here, once we move it, we have the option to delete this household, and we're going to say yes to do that. Okay, so now Jason and Katrina are together underneath the Freeman household. What we'll want to do too is underneath the household record, there is the mailing information. So right now it's the label name style is just Mr. Jason Freeman. We're going to change that to Mr. and Mrs. Freeman. And then we're just going to click save, and then you'll see up here it has updated the mailing address, so now it's Mr. and Mrs. Freeman. So whenever you print out labels, it'll show this there instead of just showing Mr. Jason Freeman. And then once we've done that, we're going to close out of here. And of course, you might have cases where a couple has divorced to show a divorce and get that taken care of. What you're going to want to do is go into each record. So we're going to go to Carl J here first. And then we are going to have to unfortunately put in a divorce date. And I'm just also going to put that as 11/1/2023. And so now we've marked Carl as that. What we'll then want to do is go to Robin, which is his, which was his spouse. Also mark, put in the divorce date. And I also forgot to put in here some marital status for both of them. You'll want to change that to divorced along with entering in that divorce date. And then when we go to Robin, what we're going to want to do is then just get rid of, so it all kind of depends on what is happening, but you can either leave the last name as is, or if they're going back to their maiden name, just copy the prior surname if you have it there and change the last name to that, and we can just get rid of the prior surname here. Click save, and then what we're going to want to do is, since they've gotten divorced, is move Robin to her own household. And so once we're here, instead of, we don't have another intended household for her to go to, what we're then going to want to do is click on this little plus sign next to intended household. This will then allow us to create a new household. And we're going to say, if you don't know the address quite yet, you can always just click address unknown and then click save. And then we're going to set Robin as the head of her own household and then click save. me just go here real quickly, because it looks like they are still sharing an envelope. So that's one other thing to note. If people who have divorced are still listed as a joint contributor, you will want to take them off first. And then once you've done that, we can then actually move the person to the correct household. So I should see Burris back here again. There it is. And then we'll just set that household position to head again, and then click save. And there we go. That's now moved Robin over to there. We'll then want to go back to the Vines household to do like we did before, where we updated the label name style. So we'll just go here and say Mr. Carl Vines. And then we'll just click save. Okay, and now since we've gotten that, then let's go over membership changes. So if you have, if anyone who's like a visitor now has become a member, you will want to make that change in your system. So we are going to go to, we're going to go to Deidre Barber. And she's currently listed as a non-member. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark her as a member. And we're going to say she was received by baptism. And we'll put her membership code to full member. And we'll say the date received was December 1st. And then we'll just mark her as being baptized and put in 12/1/2023. And then we'll click save. And now you see from which it went from blue to green. That shows that they are an active member in the system. And then we will, if you guys have anyone who's, maybe isn't quite as active anymore, what you'll want to do, and they haven't been there, for maybe like over a year or so, you'll want to go to their record. So we're going to go to Tammy Stewart. We're going to edit her record. And then underneath, so she's already marked as inactive. What we'll then just want to do is set her removed by to inactivity and set it as today's date. And then we click save, and now she'll have that line through her and show that she is removed. Then if you have people who maybe left the church, what you'll want to do for them is kind of the same thing we just did, but you'll just change the removed by reason. And so for John, he had transferred out of the church. So what we're just going to do is we're going to change his participation to inactive, change the removed by reason to transfer, and then set the transfer date to 11/13/2023, and then click save. And now he'll be marked as removed as well, and he'll be taken out of the system. As I mentioned before, you do not want to change them to non-members if they've left the church, because the annual report would be inaccurate. So just to kind of go back over everything for updating membership data, what you'll want to update are births, deaths, baptisms, confirmations, marriages, divorces, and then any membership changes. So people coming into the church, people going out of the church, and so on and so forth. Something that can be pretty helpful for kind of that purpose is under membership, under the ministry tab right here, there is a report called inactivity. And what we'll do is we'll set this for current members with no attendance or contributions for the last year. And with the current, and then what we'll say is, we'll want to set this for ages 18 and up, and then exclude those who are away or inactive, along with if they have a planned touch point or if they completed a touch point in the past 14 days. So really what this inactivity report looks like, as long as they have no activity whatsoever, they'll show up on here. So this is pretty useful if you have or wanting to mark some people as inactive. What you can also do is you can, if they haven't, it's only been a little while and you're still kind of reaching out to them, you can click the plan button right here to try to plan a touch point, so like pastor could reach out to them to see what's going on if they haven't attended. Or what you can then do is, once you've done that and they're saying, hey, we're leaving the church, you could create a static subgroup of the people in this view. And we'll just call this inactivity 2023. We'll be using this a little bit later on. And if you just want to get a list of the people who are inactive, you can always click print down here and do the report by person, or you can click the export button down at the bottom to export it to a spreadsheet. So then now let's go over some of the reports you're going to want to print out for the end of the year. So let me close out of here. And actually close out of that, but we'll go to other reports. And once we're under other reports, what you're going to want to do is go to the statistics denomination specific report right here. Once here, you'll just want to choose your denomination. So pre-built into the system, we have the Lutheran LCMS, Lutheran Wells, Lutheran ELCA, the Presbyterian PCA, Presbyterian PCUSA, Southern Baptist, United Methodist, and then Annual Church Ministries. So we're just going to go with the LCMS denomination, and we're going to then click select. Then once here, since I'm doing this currently in December, we have to set it ending in December. And what we're going to do is just set, since it's set to 2023, click save and calculate. And then once we go to membership, this will then show us the total baptisms that have happened in the year, the total, also total baptized membership, and then below that will show baptisms during the year. And so we'll see 3 infants and 1 adult. And if we click on the little eyes right here, we can see who was all baptized during this year. Same for the adults, because we see now Barbara was baptized. And then 3 here shows the total confirmed membership. So it's just everyone who is active and is not removed in the system and who is confirmed. Then below here we have our gains and losses. So this will show who's come into the church and who's gone out of the church, along with giving you a grand total at the bottom. With each of these denomination-specific reports, each of these fields have very specific criteria that is required for them to actually show up on here. So for example, underneath the total gains right here, if you see these question marks that I'm kind of hovering over slowly, these will each tell you how each of these fields is being calculated. So for example, I'm going to click on the juniors confirmed. So for the juniors confirmed, for a junior confirmed to show up on here, they had to be a baptized member marked as confirmed who were confirmed during the report year and whose age at confirmation was less than or equal to 17 and with either parent a member. If any of the record itself that you're saying, if you see on here, hey, I have someone who's baptized but they're not showing up on this report, if they don't meet any of these criteria, they won't show on the report. Same with over here on the total losses. So for total losses, most of it is baptized members who are marked as confirmed, who were then removed during the report year by transfer, LCMS, or transfer. And then underneath here, just for further information, you can go to demographics. This will show the average ages confirmed members, the average age of total membership, and then kind of give you a percent breakdown of the ages. Then kind of further on, we have kind of attendance activity. You can fill in for your different services, and that will then kind of give you an average weekly worship attendance, which this is pretty useful for filling out any church reports that you guys might have that your congregations ask for. And then for any denominations who weren't listed here, what we suggest doing is going underneath the church statistics report. And then once under church statistics, you're going to want to use the persons removed report. And then you'll want to say, age cutoff. membership year, choose whichever age cutoff you want for your church. The membership year is going to be 2023, and we're going to say beginning in January. Then you just click print. This would then get you a list of all the people who are removed in your system. And you would just kind of want to use persons removed, persons received, and then the received by analysis and removed by analysis stats for gains and losses if you don't have a denominational report. And then just at the very top, where is it? There we go. If we click on membership statistics, if we click print here, this will give us a list of our total membership, the baptized, the confirmed, and then give us an increase in this year and decrease in this year. So for those without one of the denominations listed underneath statistics denomination specific, you'd want to run those reports under church statistics. And now let's kind of go back to where, as you saw before, I made that inactivity subgroup for later. We're going to kind of show you what we're going to use that for. So underneath tools/settings here, we have an option that says, we can say mass update membership information. And this is useful for like this purpose. So what we can do is we click on mass update membership information, click start, and you'll get a little backup reminder window here. So before running any of these utilities, you will want to make a backup because it does make permanent changes to your database. Most of the utilities listed underneath the tools/settings do require that your login for Shepherd staff have admin supervisor permissions to be able to run them. So since we do have a backup, we're just going to click yes. And then once here, what we're going to do is we're going to say church participation. And we're going to, instead of up here at who, instead of saying everyone, because we don't want to update everyone, we're going to do for a subgroup, which is where that inactivity subgroup comes in handy. Because I can say inactivity 2023, click OK, and then say, I'm changing from active to inactive. And then if I click next, we'll see Donna Wilmoth. And then if we click continue, it will get a little warning saying, are you sure? And we'll say you are about to change the following one individual, and we'll say who, and then we'll just say yes right here, and now it's finished. And so if we click cancel, and we go back to people, and we go to Donna, we'll see that Donna is now marked as inactive. And so to go back to tools/settings real quickly to kind of keep going over this, what you can also do is, if you actually want to do the data cleanup, you can click here and click start. With this utility, we do kind of stress caution before using this data cleanup, because what it will do is for removed people in your database, or if you set it during the state range, it will only get rid of people who are removed on those dates. When you run this, it will purge all membership, attendance, and contributions data for that person. So it'll be like they never existed and nothing they ever did happened in the church. So make sure before you run this, you have a backup, because the only way to get the data back is if you have a backup from before you ran the utility. So for example, if we click next here, we'll see Tammy. And if we clicked continue, we'll get a little warning here. It says you are about to permanently delete all data for one individual removed between 12/13/2023 and 12/13/2023. Then if we click yes, Tammy Stewart will be like she never existed. I'm not actually going to go through with that. But it is just an optional utility. You guys don't have to run this, but if you guys do, as I said before, just make note that it does purge all of their data from the database. And then besides that, underneath here, we can do the find data entry issues. So if we click start, and let me just zoom in a bit on this so you guys can see it a bit clearer. That's maybe a bit too big, but that's all right. We can see those with a bad email address, those with a bad personal email address, the where like the first communion is listed before their birth date, they're received by baptism, but date received and baptism date is in different years. So, you may want to just run this real quickly too after doing all of your year-end activities just to make sure everything's matching up and there's no possible data issues. Then besides that, if you guys have any duplicate records that you're trying to get rid of, because this will allow you to actually merge the two people's information together, you can use the combine duplicate persons information utility right here and click start. For this, what I normally suggest doing is, let's say you have two John Smiths. For whichever John Smith you want to get rid of, I was just putting a 1 after their name. So like, it'd be like John Smith and John 1 Smith. That way, because when you go to this utility to click continue, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart from here because it would just be two names that both say John Smith unless you added that 1. So you wouldn't want to, combine the wrong record with another person. And besides that, this may be something you guys do at the end of the year, but there is the promote students to the next grade utility down here. And this just moves, those in Sunday school, in school grades from, whatever grade they're in currently to the next year. So, going from 5th grade to 6th grade and 6th grade to 7th grade, so on and so forth. And that's pretty much it for membership. If we go underneath scheduler real quickly, scheduler doesn't really have any year-end activities necessarily because it's just events for your church. The only thing you may want to do is go to other tool/settings and then do the cleanup here as well, just to maybe get rid of some old events that are just cluttering up. You guys no longer use, and you would just set this date range here as well, and then click next, and that would then delete all of the events between the date range you selected. So could be a good thing to do if you guys use the scheduler module. Otherwise, it may not have much of a use for you. All right then, so let's go back to the PowerPoint and let's kind of go over our review now. So review, so here's the year-end workflow. So make a new backup before completing each module's year-end task. This will give you a fallback point to go to if something is incorrect after running the year-end. Complete the year-end task for the specific modules, then check your data afterward to verify any changes. Then make another backup when year-end tasks are completed. And then perform year-end in this order: contributions, attendance, membership. Scheduler and finance are independent and can be done at any time. Now remember these basic steps: update and enter all data. This includes updating personal and membership information, and then run any needed reports. This includes denominational and statistical reports. So let's go over this quiz real quickly. So the first question is going to be a true or false. When updating membership data, you should update and confirm received by, removed by, baptism, and confirmation information. What I'm going to do is I'm going to launch the poll real quickly, so give me just 1 second. And there we go. All right, looks like most of you guys have voted, so I'm going to close the poll. And then let's go over the answer. So you guys are all right. It is true. Updating membership data will help make your end of the year reporting more accurate. Make sure to update all of the following: birthdays, deaths, baptisms, confirmations, marriages, divorces, received by and removed by. On to the next question. So another true or false: when you have a member that transfers to a new church, they should be marked as a non-member inside of Shepherd staff. Okay, it looks like most of you guys have voted, so I'm closing the poll. And the answer is false. The person should be labeled as a removed member. You will want to edit their person record and give them a removed by reason and a removed by date. Make sure you leave their member status alone until you have generated all of your year-end reports. Failing to do so will cause your reports to be inaccurate. I went slightly too fast. So true or false, the cleanup utility can be used to delete people from the membership module. You guys probably already all saw the answer, but we're still going to go through with this. Okay, looks like most of you guys have voted, so I'm going to close the poll again. And the answer is true. You can use the cleanup utility to purge or remove people from the database. This does also delete any membership, attendance, and contributions data associated with the removed person. Please use caution when running this utility and back up prior to starting this task. So that is kind of the only way to actually get that data back if you do run the utility. And then the final question, true or false, the inactivity wheel will find those who have not participated, attended, and or contributed over a time period. And there we go. Let's see what you guys' answers are. All right, looks like most of you guys have voted, so I'm going to close the poll. And then we're going to go over. So yep, the answer is true. You may want to use this view to find those people who are no longer active in your church. This report will also help you find those who are no longer attending or contributing. And then you can also find those who are not participating in any activities at the church. Okay, do you guys have any other questions you want to ask? Okay. Thank you, Tim. Let me go back to Shepherd staff real quickly, and let's take a look. I believe we're talking about the blank form, right, Tim? If this is the form you're talking about, oh yes, I see the I prefer to be contacted by. Yeah, the only way to really edit this would be if you exported it to Word as a either as a doc file or a RFT right here, because this is how it's pre-built into the system. Let me actually do this. If I decrease, so it looks like it was my font size. If I decrease the font size, the I prefer to be contacted by email and etc. now shows up. No problem, Tim. Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, Dottie, let me close out of here. The attendance one only affects attendance. It's just the membership one because so everything in attendance and contributions are all tied back to a person record in membership. So when you run this utility, this just gets rid of attendance detail information. The membership one, it just deletes all records because we can't, with Shepherd staff, since everything is tied to that person record, if we don't delete everything in there, it's going to be kind of orphan records and cause more problems. So if you just run the data cleanup for attendance, it'll only affect attendance. It's just membership that affects everything. And then Pam, your question on how long is a good inactivity time, really that's kind of church specific. I've seen some churches do 1 year, I've seen others do 3. It all, or like 2 or 3, it all kind of depends on what the rules and guidelines are for your guys's denomination. And it's also just a personal preference of the church. So there's really no set answer for how long is a good inactivity time. All right, are there any other questions besides those? Okay, it looks like there's not. If you guys do have any questions and we may have missed it, we will reach back out to you and let you know the answers to those questions. So let me go back to my PowerPoint. And so thank you all for attending today's Shepherd Staff webinar. I hope you guys all have a good rest of your day now.